Hello, and welcome back to Let's Play Out of the Park Baseball 22. We are at the beginning of the 2023 season with our Texas Rangers, and as is tradition, I will now play out opening day, which will feature Mitch Keller as the starting pitcher, versus Oakland. Here are your opening day lineups. The Rangers and the A's have generally been towards the bottom of the AL West in past seasons, so both these teams trying to turn it around. The A's are, of course, headlined by Matt Chapman, their Platinum Glove winning third baseman, as well as Sean Murphy, their start catcher. Taking the mound for them will be Dalton Jeffries, a control pitcher in this game with a tough injury history. He's a fragile player, but he does have a 3.68 ERA the past two seasons, so that's pretty great. But yes, and we'll line up with Brujan, Machado, Solak, Lowe, Raleigh, Trammell, Taveras, Jesus Sanchez, Crawford, and Mitch Keller on the mound. So let's get the show on the road. Okay, leading off the season, it's Nick Allen to face Mitch Keller. We begin the season with a ground out to Nate Lowe, who makes the play. Next up is Logan Davidson. He hits a weird kind of knuckling liner that is caught by the second baseman Vidal Brujan, and that brings up Oscar Colas, or Colas, I don't know, and he strikes out. So a 1-2-3 inning for Keller in his first inning as a Texas Ranger. Vidal Brujan to lead things off against Jeffries in the bottom of the first, and Brujan has got himself a single, so that's a good start to our season right there. He could steal, but with Sean Murphy's 70 arm, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to instead just hit with Machado, who is back from injury. And Machado, and his first at-bat back has hit a no-doubter to left center field, 455 feet, just like that. Very quickly, the Rangers are on top of this thing, 2-0. Ramon Laureano leading off the top of the fifth. That's going to get out of here, so the A's do get one back. Score 2-1. Top of the sixth here, I'm going to have Taylor Hearn warm up, and Mitch Keller has pitched a great game so far. However, in that previous inning, not only did he allow the home run, all the outs he got were like deep fly balls and line drives, so it was kind of scary. But yeah, if he gets in trouble here, we're going to bring in someone like Taylor Hearn to deal with these lefties like Oscar Colas and Greg Deichmann, so we'll see what happens. That's a strikeout and a big one on full count, now pitching to Logan Davidson. Switch hitter. And he walks him. Okay. This is about the time where I'm starting to think about bringing in Taylor Hearn, but I think I'll let Keller face one more batter, Oscar Colas. And he gets a strikeout. Okay. Can he get the out on Greg Deichmann? And either way, I think I'm going to swap it so that we get someone like Zach Hess warmed instead. But Greg Deichmann, that ball gets away from Cal Raleigh. Okay. It's a tough one. I'm going to say pitch around Deichmann. So on full count, we get the strikeout. There it is, through 6. Still leading 2-1. Nice single there from Solak with one out in the bottom of the 6th. That prompts a pitching change. They bring in James Caprillion to face Nate Lowe. Nate Lowe serves one to right field that will drop in. And going first to third is Solak. So runners on the corners with one out here. This would be a big run to pick up. Cal Raleigh. Wow, the outfielders barely move. A 3-run homer for Cal Raleigh. That is huge insurance. Rangers now lead 5-1 on opening day. Taylor Trammell, one out. He shoots one. That's looks like it's going to be a double to left field, and it will be. So there we go. Leody Taveras now full count. He walks, so this has been a tough outing for Caprillion. Jesus Sanchez, he pulls one down the line, so we are just rallying right here. That Cal Raleigh home run was not a rally killer. So that's going to score a run. Nestor Cortez comes in now. Runners on second and third, still just the one out. And I'm just trying to manage Zach Hess's, not trying to get him too warm here because he is going to pitch the 7th for us, I think. Oh, wow, that one is just sent over the head of Laureano. That's going to score 2 more runs, and we are just thrashing the A's in this inning. Score 8-1 now as we put on a 6-piece. And again, there is still just 1 out. That's kind of the tricky part for these guys. I guess I'll get Evans warmed instead. Or maybe I'll just do Belak. If it's going to be kind of lower leverage. All right, Vidal Brujan. That's going to be a productive out. Advances the runner to third, but there are 2 outs. At long last, the A's have their 2nd out of the inning. Manny Machado grounds out to the shortstop. So the rally ends with the Rangers leading 8-1 through 6 innings. Got a chance to tack on more runs here. 2 runners on, 2 outs for Leody Taveras. Strikes out. We're here in the top of the 8th. No runs in the 7th. Brandon Belak still on the mound, and honestly, if he is efficient here, he could just close out this game, get the old 9-out save. That's the most classic kind of save to get, is the 9-out save. There's a couple groundouts to begin the inning, and then Logan Davidson, 3 groundout. Nope, that was a misplay there by Machado, of all people, interestingly enough. Oscar Colas strikes out. So we're on to the bottom of the 8th. Jesus Sanchez. Ground out to the pitcher. J.P. Crawford. Ground out to the second baseman. Vidal Brujan. Single up the middle. He's had a good game. Manny Machado strikes out. So we're through to the 9th. Belak just on the 21 pitches. I'm going to see if he can close this one out. Strikeout there on Dykman. Matt Chapman on a 3-1 count. Walks him. Ramon Laureano. Pop up in the infield. Caught by Nate Lowe. 2 away. Now facing J.J. Bleday. Bleday sends that one. Oppo. That's going to be a home run. So 453-foot home run there for Bleday. Score is now 8-3. I will warm up, DeMarcus Evans, but I would just like to see Belak finish it out. We could save the bullpen that way. That's going to be a single. We're going to visit the mound. 3-1 count. Sean Murphy, he walks. Okay, so I'm going to end Belak's day. He couldn't quite get the save, but I just want to get out of this game. I think we have an off day tomorrow, so saving the bullpen not that much important. And DeMarcus Evans, strikeout. There you are, opening day. We win 8-3 against Oakland. 12 hits for our team in this one. Multi-hit games from Taylor Trammell, Cal Raleigh, and Vidal Brujan. Machado homered, Raleigh homered. It was just a well-pitched game from Keller. It was just kind of a complete victory. Belak came in. He just, some low-leverage innings. He got, 7 outs or 8 outs, so you can't complain too much about his performance. But there you go. That was opening day. We got a bunch of achievements, and it was a fun one. So hopefully that will be a good start to our season. Just noticed this, but we are the only AL West team with a win. We are the only AL West team to win on opening day. So enjoy it. We are in first place, ladies and gentlemen. We did it. We're the best. Okay, in our second game of the season, we won a wild game versus Oakland that culminated with Jesus Sanchez hitting a walk-off 3-run homer. However, Drew Strotman, who started that game, is injured with the delayed diagnosis. That's usually not a good sign. He pitched a good game. He got through 5 1/3 on only 66 pitches before he got hurt. So hopefully it's not too bad, but we'll have to sort of sift through and see what happens there. As I sort of should have pointed out at the beginning of this episode, we have Sale out and AJ Puck out. So need the health. And a day goes by without that diagnosis coming through. start to get nervous. You start to get nervous. Now, our trainer, I'm going to sound a little bit like a complainer here for a little bit, but our trainer, Rick Jameson, is supposedly legendary at preventing the arm injuries, so come on, Rick. Third, well, okay, so we do sweep Oakland. I mean, it's nice to win games, but I mean, you go 3 days without finding out what this injury is, you're usually thinking, okay, he's going to be out for months, if not, just a year. So, man, just everyone cross your fingers. I'm simming ahead to the next day. Out for 2 weeks, herniated disc. We got lucky there. Nate Lowe injured, diagnosis pending though, so the pain truly never ends, but that's fine. 2-week injury to your pitcher, that's fine. I just don't want 6-month injuries, I guess in response to that, I can call someone up. So let me figure out who that's going to be. Okay, I've decided to call up Dane Dunning, who has just generally kind of shuffled all over the place between AAA, the bullpen, and the rotation. He'll take over as a long reliever, which puts Belak back in the rotation. But yeah, let's stay tuned on this Nate Lowe injury. Try to figure out what's going on with that too, because he's diagnosis pending, and those are the 2 scariest words in OOTP. And now Belak is injured, diagnosis pending. Come on, guys, we've played 7 games here. Okay, these guys go back to AAA if they'll allow it. We've also lost 4 in a row after winning the first 4 games. But yeah, okay. Is there news on... Okay, we're still waiting on Belak. We're still waiting on Nate Lowe. If I could just get some answers here, people. Okay, Belak, torn meniscus. I almost said meniscus. 4 months. Sheesh. Okay, 60-day IL for you. Nate Lowe, plantar fasciitis, so his feet are hurting. 3 weeks. So already, we've got a lot of people on the injured list right now. We have 3 starters, 1 borderline starter reliever, 2 relievers, and our starting first baseman on the injured list right now. So it's been tough. I guess I could call up Juan Yepez. I think that would probably make the most sense. I did not start with him on opening day because I was like, oh, Yandy Diaz doesn't have options, so I'll put Diaz on the roster. And then we can call up another pitcher, right? Isn't that the next move? Could call up Wyatt Mills. Okay, so Bettinger gets called up. He takes over long relief. Dane Dunning gets added to the rotation. The funny thing is, if we have all of our pitchers healthy, Dane Dunning's our 8th starter or something like that, but now here he is in the rotation already on April 15th. So, yeah, kind of foreboding, but we are 5-4, so that's nice. As far as our first base situation goes, for the next 3 weeks or so, it'll be Juan Yepez facing lefties and Yandy facing righties. We're going to move Cal Raleigh up to cleanup just because he's off to a hot start to this season. 3 homers in 7 games. He's a power hitter, so those guys will bat 5th and Raleigh will bat 4th for the next 3 weeks. Okay, April 21st here. Connor Grams is eligible to come off IL. Drew Strotman will be ready to come off in about 4 days, so we're getting a little bit healthier there. I think with Grams, there is that temptation to put him in the rotation, right? Especially given some of the injuries. I think what would be smart to do is kind of a compromise, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to set him to a starter. And I'm going to ask for him to be used as a starting pitcher in terms of his game strategy. And then I think what I'm going to do is just put him in AAA Round Rock and just see if he can hack it there, And he's going to end up in this bullpen very likely either way. But if he can hack it as a starter there, then maybe we could try him as a starter in the big leagues. But I'm not going to try him as a starter in the big leagues right away. So it's just going to be a little experiment with him. And yeah, we'll see how it goes. In fact, I should probably add him to the prospects list just to make sure the CPU doesn't try to do weird stuff with him. But yeah, we're 8-5, so solid start to the year. Much better than starts in previous years. So I got Drew Strotman back, which is nice, and I'll get Nate Lowe back in about a week. Nick Solak, though, has suffered a hamstring strain. It's very hard to say that, hamstring strain. And so we'll have to figure out his DH spot. And I think the move there could be just to call up, how's Lucan Baker doing in AAA? Some combination of, Lucan Baker, Yandy Diaz, Juan Yepez to handle DH and first base. So not ideal. Yandy has done well, generally. He, I think a lot of it is probably BABIP, but he's slashing 333, 362, 467. Out of curiosity, what is his BABIP? 375. Okay, that's pretty high, but it's not like, 450 or anything like that. Juan Yepez, not so good with his slash line, so we'll figure it out, but generally those three are going to handle DH, first base, some combination of that. So that's your update. We are 12-6, and that's good enough for first place. So despite some injuries, we are in first place. By the way, just as I complained about Juan Yepez, he comes out, gets 2 hits against the Tigers, and then gets 2 homers the next game. So his OPS is 1,000. So maybe I should wait until people have more than 20 plate appearances before I start passing judgment. Unfortunately, on May 1st, we have Cal Raleigh out for 5 weeks with the sprained thumb. Part of this is just bad luck, and part of this is, playing with high injury frequency. And the thing I've got to remember is that the CPU teams have to deal with this as well. Cal Raleigh was having a monster start to a season, slashing 312, 413, 562. Hopefully, he can come back and keep doing that. We'll add him to the 10-day IL. Nate Lowe will be back in 3 days, Solak in 3 weeks, Cal Raleigh in 5 weeks. Chris Sale in 7 to 8, AJ Puck in 2 months, just kind of give you all an idea of the timelines of these injuries. And look, it's been tough, but we're gutting our way through it. And it just seems like everyone's getting their turn on the injured list. The good news is we haven't seen those catastrophic injuries, those 1-year injuries. We haven't had any of those yet. The biggest change this is going to result in is our catcher spot in the lineup, which Cal Raleigh was hitting cleanup for us. Obviously, Roberto Perez can't do that, but he can, in fact, give us 80 catcher ability, so don't be surprised if we get a good stretch of pitching here. We'll have to look for a backup to him, but yes, the catcher spot is going to hit 9th for the time being, and I think you can all understand why. As far as the catcher to call up, it's definitely Nick Meyer, right? That's got to be my guy. And he brings 65 catcher ability of his own, so I like that guy a lot, and he'll join the team. Given that we're a month into the season, I thought I should just kind of take some time to dote on this lineup. Vidal Brujan, he's got that above average OBP at least. He hasn't quite got it going yet, but it's like he's doing terrible. Machado's doing, Manny Machado things. Juan Yepez is done well, small sample size. Taylor Trammell, remember that I kept telling him to hit the ball, and that's all I had to do. I said, Taylor, hit the ball. And then he was like, okay, I'll hit the ball. I'll slash 371, 440, 629 in the first month. And I was like, thank you. I got to say, though, that stolen base ratio, not the best, but that's just me being nitpicky. Yandy's doing his thing. Jesus Sanchez has done well. His OBP's not crazy. I could do with a few more walks, but he's slugging, and Leote's, he's 90 OPS plus. That was what we need him to be. And JP Crawford, he could hit more. And Roberto Perez is Roberto Perez. He is Jeff Mathis. We will have to deal with that, but hey, that's okay. Cal Raleigh's supposed to be in that spot to hit. Roberto Perez, you're in that spot to be 80 catcher ability and a captain, okay? And that's important too. You can't really measure that in WAR as much, though. May 10th here, and we're 18-13, 2 games behind the Angels. We are first in runs scored, but we are 13th in runs against. So, I tried to improve our pitching during the offseason. I would say I didn't make as many changes to the lineup, and yet our lineup is killing it after they've been, terrible the past 2 seasons. And now the pitching's struggling. We are first in strikeouts, though, which is very weird. We're a very wild team. We walk a lot of guys. We allow a lot of home runs, but we also we strike guys out. I think as far as pitching goes, our success as a pitching staff will be dependent on health. If we can get back Chris Sale actually in 6 weeks with no setbacks, or if we can actually get back AJ Puck in 8 weeks with no setbacks, then I think, we could really have something on our hands. But that health is going to be super important for us going forward. We have had some good pitching performances. Mitch Keller is not one of them, at least not yet, but Stroutman's been great as a starter, and Corbin Martin has been kind of a revelation. He could be an all-star if he keeps this up, so he's been huge. I'm thinking what I'm going to do is send down Taylor Hearn and then bring up Connor Grams. Grams, we sent him down to try to figure out how to be a starter, and I mean, he's won 4 games in a row. He's getting really lucky with this 220 BABIP, especially in a run environment like AAA Round Rock. However, I do think he probably has more to offer to the team at this moment than Hearn does. Hearn, whenever we call him up, the ratings say he's a 50 control guy, but whenever we call him up to the majors, he just walks everybody. I mean, he walked 6 per 9 in 2022 when he was in the majors. Now he's walking 8 per 9. That's just not a sustainably good thing to be doing, and I think his 10 ERA kind of shows it. So we're going to send him down to AAA Round Rock, and he will have to clear waivers. We'll see if he does that. And I think it's time to bring up Connor Grams, and I think I might actually try him in the rotation. We'll see. Let me figure that out. Okay, this is interesting. So literally the next day after I call up Connor Grams and I'm thinking about what to do with him in terms of the rotation versus the bullpen, Taylor Widener, who was our number 5 starter, who I was thinking about, just putting in the bullpen or something like that, torn labrum out 8 to 9 months. So that basically ends his season. And so he goes 60-day IL, but you know what that does is it opens up a spot for Connor Grams, and I guess we'll give him a shot as our number 5. And I could recall Hearn, who's been DFA'd, hasn't been claimed yet. The other option would be, like a Wyatt Mills or someone like that. And I'll just bring back Taylor Hearn. I guess that's what I'll have to do. And I'm gonna put him in middle relief, and I'm just gonna say, don't use him in high leverage because he's been kind of bad. And so, yeah, this is how I'll set up my pitching staff, at least for the next few weeks or until there's, some development with another injury or someone returning from injury. Taylor Trammell suffering a 1-week injury in the form of a back strain. It's just been such a weird season. Everyone's getting hurt, but we're playing really well. And everyone's getting hurt and one at a time in an orderly fashion. Like they're queued up to get hurt. As soon as someone, is done being hurt, someone else will get hurt. It's just been very weird, but Trammell's been playing out of his mind this year. A big reason for that is 412 BABIP. That's going to regress at some point. I mean, but look at this guy's numbers. I mean, he's going insane, and he's hit like crap, in the years prior to this. So that's been good to watch. And 1 week, we'll be able to deal with a 1 week absence from him, but I don't want to lose him for any more time than that. Not going to do a full prospect update just yet, but Eduardo Garcia, his potential ratings have come down just a little bit. However, he is off to a solid start in high A, and I believe I said in the previous episode, look, if he gets off to a decent start in high A, I'm going to put him up in double A pretty quickly, and that's what I'm going to do. So Eduardo Garcia to double A. I'll have more on the prospects later in this episode. Solak's been waiting to come back from his hamstring strain for a while now. About 10 days longer than we initially thought, and I'm not too upset by that. Yandy Diaz is doing a terrific job. However, it just makes me worry about what could possibly happen to Chris Sale, who's due to come back in 4 weeks, or AJ Puck, who's due to come back in 6 weeks. It's kind of like, are they really going to come back in 4 weeks? Are they really going to come back in 6 weeks? Or are there going to be, setbacks that put them out for the rest of the season? That, to me, is the scary part. So I'm here on May 31st, and there's a bunch of interesting developments going on with the team right now. I'll start with what is probably the most negative one, which is that we're in a bit of a skid. We are 1-9 over our last 10, and that's dropped us down to 500. In terms of just how the overall team is doing, we're scoring a lot of runs, but we're also allowing a lot of runs. And the fear I have is May 31st here, and there's a bunch of interesting developments with this team. The most negative one is definitely just recent performance. We are 1-9 in our last 10 games, which has dropped us all the way down to 4th place in the division with a 500 record overall. However, there's a bunch of positive stuff going on. Nick Solak is finally back. He was gone for a long time, and this is good. He can do some DHing for us. Another good thing about having Solak back is it means Anderson Tejeda doesn't have to play so much like second base and third base. Solak can fill in whenever that happens. And so the most interesting developments, I would have to say, first of all, Connor Graham's, in his first 2 starts, not looking great. I think I would like to put him in our bullpen, but the point is, I should be able to soon put him in our bullpen where he can replace Taylor Hearn, who's been dreadful. And the reason I can soon put Connor Graham's into our bullpen is because I've just received an email that AJ Puck is making great progress recovering from his injury, which means, he'll be back sooner. And by sooner, I mean he'll be back tomorrow. He has 1 more day left of recovery. And I'm thinking the wise move might be to, put him, do a minors, rehab thing. But I also just kind of want to put him in the rotation. So I'll have to figure that out. Graham's is definitely out of this rotation. I'm thinking of putting McClanahan out of the rotation next. I really think McClanahan would do great as a reliever. I don't think he's doing great as a starter. And if we could get that, Keller's been pitching better in his last few starts, and Strotman's been good, and Martin's been good. You can start to kind of put together the good rotation in your head once we get Puck back, and once we get Sale back. That's going to be huge for us too. Then you can start to picture a good bullpen and a good rotation. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to, let's look at Dunning. So Dunning's been pitching pretty well. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to play it safe. And I'm going to, well, Bettinger's back. That doesn't mean a huge deal to me. But Puck's going to be back when I click this check mark. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the smart thing, and I'm going to rehab him to the minors just for a little bit. And then I'm going to... Okay, I might as well let Grams pitch this game at least and see what happens against Houston and Christian Javier. Okay, it went really badly. Yeah, this guy's just not a starter, at least not as things stand right now, but I do think he can be a good reliever for us. So, Dunning pitched in this game too. Why did he pitch in this game? It doesn't really matter that much. So what I can do is, I think I'm going to take Grams out, and I'm going to put Dunning in the rotation as our 5th, and then I'll have Grams long relief for now, where I think he can be good. And then when Puck comes back, Dunning will go to long relief, Hearn will get demoted, and Puck will be in the rotation. I think that's how it's going to work. But we'll see if there's any more developments as far as our pitching goes. But yeah, that's kind of my hope, is we need healthy pitching in order to really form the team that we want to form. Okay, let's check in with our prospects. Christopher Bernal, rookie ball hasn't started yet, so that was easy. Luis Angel Acuna in A ball, not doing well. Just not doing particularly well. This guy's confusing to me. His potential stats all look really nice, and yet I can't really seem to get him to perform in the minors. So that's kind of a bummer. Grant Hussey looks like he is a day-to-day injury for 4 weeks. That's tough. You almost kind of question if you want him to play through that, but he has played well. Again, very 3 true outcomey. I've said this about him, but to have someone who's not even quite 20 yet with a 125 OPS plus in A ball, that's pretty good. He was our 5th rounder in 2021. Nicholas Perez is also in A, and he's not doing as good. Again, that jump from rookie to A is difficult. So those are all the guys that are in A. Kevin Abel is an A+. He's not doing too great, but there he is. Our AA guys, Evan Carter, I've noticed he has the flame next to him, so that's good. That means he is hot right now, and he is hot indeed. A 143 OPS plus in AA at the age of 20. Very impressive stuff. I look at his projected ratings. I don't think he's as impressive as someone like Dalen Lyle, but he does look like, potentially a usable player for sure. We do have a lot of lefty corner outfield bats though, so it's kind of crowded there right now. So I'm not really sure what his long-term aspirations could be as far as the team. He may be trade bait at some point, but yeah, I'm thinking about moving him to AAA. I think we can probably wait a little bit longer on that. He has 200 plate appearances. Maybe next time we check in on him, we could think about that, but he's doing fantastic. Eric Sarantola is doing really good. I'm happy to see that. And he was our first rounder last year. 11 games started, 3.48 ERA. I think he moves up to AAA right now. I do, and I think there's a very solid chance he could debut in the bullpen this season. And if he does, he would be the first draftee make it to the majors, at least of the draftees that I've picked. So that would be nice. Kind of a shocker that it's not Jack Leiter, but that took an interesting turn. Eduardo Garcia, holding his own in AA. Hasn't played too much. Might have suffered an injury in there at some point. And then Dalen Lyle. He's ultra consistent, isn't he? No matter what, it's always you're getting just a little over 100 OPS plus. He's hitting about 300. Yeah, and I think this guy is superior to Evan Carter. And I'm not going to be moving him up to AAA now, but he could be in AAA to finish the year. But yeah, I'm getting excited about Sarantola, and I think he could be a really good reliever potentially, at least this year, and then maybe we could think long-term about being a starter. But yeah, if Sarantola gets up to a really great start in AAA, he could be the first draftee we have make it to the big leagues, and that's exciting because honestly I wasn't sure when that kind of thing was going to happen. So that's your prospect update, and yeah, interesting stuff. And don't forget about AJ Puck. Okay, June 3rd here, and we have the ever worrisome diagnosis pending for Trammell. Again, this guy's already missed some time. He's hitting 380, so we'll have to wait and see what's happening there. Okay, still diagnosis pending. We do win 3-0. Corbin Martin, I tell you what, this guy's been huge for us. The pitching staff overall hasn't been great, but he's been our best pitcher. Cal Raleigh is eligible to come off. Partially torn labrum, 5 weeks for Taylor Trammell. Again, it's just like we're trading places, It's oh, Cal Raleigh's healthy, great. Taylor Trammell's hurt now, and Roberto Perez is injured, diagnosis pending, which, he's hitting like a pitcher, but I need his captaincy. And if Trammell's, honestly, if Trammell's hurt and Perez is hurt, I don't have a captain on the active roster. So that's worrisome to me. And we do have some chippy personalities like Machado potentially. I don't even know what to do with Nick Meyer. I guess I'll send him down for now, right? But we'll have to figure out what's going on with Roberto Perez, or else Nick Meyer could be right back up. It is good to get Mr. Cal Raleigh back in the lineup. That is a huge thing, but it sucks to lose Taylor Trammell for it, right? That it's just kind of a lateral move at this point, and I just want to see this squad at full health, and I feel like we haven't gotten to see it at all. I have a bit of a conundrum here with Vidal Brujan, who has a strained oblique for the next 2 weeks. That's a day-to-day injury for the next 2 weeks. Has minimal influences on hitting, throwing, and running. I think what I'm going to do, I think maybe the smart thing to do would be to like, Okay, I think the way I'm going to handle this is I'm going to move Brujan like down in the lineup to like there. And then I don't want Waters hitting second. Okay, that's okay. And then versus lefties, same thing. Maybe something like that. And then Brujan's backup. Let's look and see. Okay, so Brujan's backup, Tejeda. We can do that. And then maybe start him every second game for the next 2 weeks. Because I want to play Brujan through this, but I don't want to put him in a sticky situation necessarily by making him play every day. So that's how I'm going to handle this next 2 weeks. And Sale is supposedly back in a week. Puck just had a rehab, his third rehab start, which was his best so far. He's walking 7 batters per 9, but it's making me happy that, you know, he's kind of getting better as this goes along, and it also makes me feel like sending him down to AAA was the right move. But he will be back in the rotation very soon. I think I'm going to bring him up for his next start. Okay, this is a big day for the team. First of all, we have hit ourselves a serious hot streak. We've won 8 games in a row, which has surged us back into 3rd place and also back into wild card contention. What's funny is when I started this series, I kind of thought long-term that the AL West would be one of the weaker divisions. And I was just super wrong about that. I just kind of was like, hey, Houston's old. The Angels are a mess. And I thought that our main competition would be the Mariners. But I was super wrong about the long-term outlook of the AL West. However, this is the time. This is the time, ladies and gentlemen. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to send down Taylor Hearn. I'm going to have to waive and DFA him. He's been very bad. And he's been pitching a lot. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take Dane Dunning, put him in long relief. He's been good. I've enjoyed Dane Dunning this year. The Dane Dunning experience has been mostly a positive one. And I'm going to bring up AJ Puck. He's 100% rested. We're going to promote him to Texas. We're going to put him in the rotation. I'm going to put him right there for now. And then, I'm not quite done yet. Nick Meyer, who has, I think, done a very admirable job, and I'm happy to have him on my 40-man. Send him down to AAA Round Rock. Bring back Roberto Perez off the injured list. So now we can at least get a captain back on the team. And Chris Sale supposedly back in 4 days. We'll see about that. But you know who is back is AJ Puck. Let's see how he does. I think he's going to start this game. Well, it was an unceremonious return. You know, 5 innings, 3 runs isn't terrible. It's not terrible. But we do lose. Mostly just bad bullpenning. DeMarcus Evans has a rare slip-up. He's actually been one of our better relievers this year for sure. But we're still working on the bullpen. I think, you know, if I can get Sale back and then McClanahan in the bullpen, I really think McClanahan's going to do well in the bullpen. All right, now it's June 22nd. Chris Sale is back. And here's the thing about Chris Sale. His injury wasn't as long. It was a 3-month injury. Puck's injury was like an 8-month injury or something like that. So I think Chris Sale I can just put back in the rotation. And so my corresponding move would be to demote a reliever to AAA. I'm not entirely sure who I want that to be just yet. I'm just going to kind of look at the numbers. I'm thinking about it being Zach Hess. I don't think that would be a bad move necessarily. Martin's got a worse FIP than him, but Hess is just walking everybody. Grams has done better since we put him in the bullpen, which is, fairly obvious thing. Okay, I'm going to send down Hess for now. Should have options. I'm going to put McClanahan in the bullpen, where I really think Shane McClanahan in the bullpen is going to be a really good fit for this team. And then, trying to decide who I want to be our fives. Man, I'm going to switch this to a strict on occasion highest rested, because I feel like for the first time we have like 5 pitchers I like. And then, we're going to bring back Sale. He's going to make his Rangers debut. And I think I'm going to order the rotation like so for now. And there you go. And this is the closest we've been to full strength. We don't have Trammell just yet. We'll get him back in 2 weeks. And obviously, Belak and Widener are more long-term injuries. But really, this is what we've been kind of building towards all year. It took us 70 games, but 36 and 34, we are in the hunt. And if we can stay healthy, I feel like, we'll be in the hunt come September. We did manage to win Chris Sale's debut. We tried to blow it with our bullpen. Our bullpen is going to be a continuing theme throughout this season. I can feel it. But Chris Sale, he threw 60 pitches, but he was scoreless. I like that Dunning piggybacked off his excellent start, and then Connor Grams and Rasmussen did their best to try to blow it, but they didn't blow it. We beat the Yankees, and the people saw that it was good. Chris Sale in start number 2, scoreless, so he's now up to 10 1/8 scoreless innings. So I feel like sending Puck to rehab in the minors and not sending Sale to rehab in the minors has worked out pretty well. Couple of good pieces of news from prospect land. Sherten Apostle is your AAA West batter of the month. I'm starting to think, with the fact that he doesn't really have a place in this team unless someone gets hurt, he could be someone to trade at the trade deadline, possibly for a reliever. And then Sarantola is the pitcher of the month in the very same league. We've promoted him to AAA, and in 5 starts, he has a 2.36 ERA. He's been phenomenal, and I think in a span of less than a calendar year, Sarantola has gone from a draftee to major league ready. And I'm not going to put him in the majors just yet, but this is to say that if I need to call on a pitcher due to an injury, it's going to be between like him and Zach Hess. So he's really kind of entered that moment at the age of 23, and it's just been a really impressive climb from this guy. It just feels like no matter what we throw at him, he's been good, and he's honestly done better for us than Leiter did. I want to check out how Leiter is doing right now, actually, because I'm very curious. Shoulder tendonitis, 2 days. Okay, so a minor injury, and they have him in high A, interestingly enough, and he's not doing the best. So we'll see how that turns out, but it'd be really interesting if Sarantola turned out better than Leiter, or even if Dalen Lyle turned out better than Leiter. I feel like both those things could happen. Today is also July 1st, so I can now take a look at the international amateurs. I've talked about this in the past. My usual way of handling it is just to sign, one $5 million guy every few years. I haven't signed anyone yet, and I don't think I'm going to sign anyone this year. So that's 3 years now where I haven't gone for any of these guys. Maybe I just haven't gotten the right class for it yet, or maybe I'm just discounting players when I really shouldn't be. Look, this could be a solid player for sure. He has high intelligence. Should I sign him? I don't know. I just don't really feel like it. I just don't really feel like it, guys. July 7th here, we are 42-41 after a recent skid. Taylor Trammell's ready to come back, and I think that's huge. We've had Drew Waters doing a lot of filling in for him, and to be honest, he hasn't been very good. So I think putting Waters back into more of like a utility type role is going to be really good for this team. And to his credit, Chas McCormick in the 19 plate appearances he has been utterly brilliant. I still prefer Waters for that fourth, or maybe it's like a fifth outfielder. I don't know, fourth or fifth outfielder spot because Waters can play center. That's really the only reason why. So I'm going to put McCormick down in AAA, and Trammell's going to join this lineup, and we will basically be at full strength with that. Look, we have Belak hurt and Widener hurt, but and I guess Matzek still hurt, but as far as this team goes, we're the strongest we've ever been at this moment, and we are above 500, and so we'll see what happens the rest of the way. We have our midseason letter from our owner. He is happy with our 42-41 record, now 42-42. As far as building the farm, we do have one of the worst farm systems in the league, and I actually agree with that. And then improving our draft record, we may have an opportunity to do that with guys like Sarantola this year. So that could help some. The thing about your owner goals is that winning kind of cures everything. So as long as we can fulfill his requirements as far as team record and keep things respectable on the field, he'll be okay if we falter here. So I just have to make sure I win, Strotman's hitting the injured list for us, sadly. Herniated disc. He'll be out 5 to 6 weeks. So that moment where we had a full-strength rotation was short-lived, although we do, have Puck and Sale, so it's kind of hard to complain. I have decided to put Dunning back in the rotation as our fifth spot. He did have a rough outing in relief last time he pitched, but overall I would say I'm happy with the Dane Dunning experience. And then as far as which reliever to bring up, I would really like to bring up Sarantola. I'm not quite sure if that is the smartest move. I've looked at Hess and I've looked at Hearn. They aren't exactly tearing it up. I could look at Bettinger as well. Bettinger's doing well in AAA. Who's doing better, Bettinger or Sarantola? I would have to give it to Bettinger at this moment by a hair. Bettinger's problem is always going to be the homers, but he's not allowing a lot of homers here. I think I'm going to call it Bettinger, but we are very close to Eric Sarantola debut time. So that's cool. 44-42. That's our record here on draft day, and draft day marks the end of this episode. When we come back, I will do the draft, I'll do the All-Star break, trade deadline, just, the second half of the season. But as things stand right now, we're above 500, and we could be contenders for a wild card spot, down the stretch. And we haven't really been competitive up until this moment. So this has been an exciting episode. We've had a lot of injuries. We've had a lot of big players coming back from injuries. But it's definitely been interesting, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. And yes, stay tuned for the second half of 2023.